Hi again, from my messy apartment. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I photograph and edit my horse show photography. For those of you who don't know, I've been photographing mostly as a hobby for probably the past decade or so. Mostly it started with horse shows, and then from there I've kind of branched out a little bit to architectural photography and mainly actually wildlife photography. If you want to see like any of that kind of stuff, I post it on my Instagram sometimes, so you can go and check it out there. So I do actually do some heavy Photoshop editing after I take my photos, so I'll kind of show a little bit of that, but if you want a more in-depth video, I can definitely, give some more information. But yeah, I figured I would take you guys along on a horse show day, so let's get into it. So for this particular show, I was actually going after I'd already had a pretty brutal riding lesson on Gunner, which was a fantastic lesson. You should totally go read my blog post about it. But yeah, so I had that lesson, and I think at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and first thing I want to do after those lessons is go and get something to eat. So I grabbed a little snack at the horse show grounds. I'm not a huge fan of horse show food, but you gotta have something to tide you over. And clearly it was really good because I finished it before I even thought about starting that vlog of the day. So I got myself something to eat, and then after that it was a matter of trying to figure out where I wanted to stand depending on basically what ring I'm photographing and what discipline I'm photographing. So the first horse that I was going to be taking photos of is Valley, and she goes in the Hunters. The Hunter ring is a little bit easier to photograph because everything's kind of set at lines that are perpendicular, parallel, or, it's a very clear angle that they're on from one another. It's very straightforward. So sometimes I kind of like to start just based off of where the sun is. For this particular day, it was gross and rainy and overcast, as Florida wants to be for some reason this time of year, even though it is a dry season. For this particular show, I didn't have much to think of when it came to the actual lighting or where the sun was coming from, and I had a lot more free reign over where I actually wanted to stand. Lines are always typically good because I can get two shots within more or less like a very short time frame, so I kind of get two opportunities to get it right, as long as I can zoom out fast enough, and I usually do. I'm pretty good. Lines are always really nice. I also will lean towards, if there's a specific jump that I just like the aesthetic of, then I'll also do that. So there was a gray line at this show that was very nice and pretty, and it had a lot of building up on one side of it, which kind of encourages the horses to take a little more dramatic or nicer jump. So it really helps to find those fences to really frame up the shot that you want. I tend to lean away from photographing over the white PVC style fences, and this mostly just has to do with my editing style and very high contrast, and I find that when I'm taking very nice clear photos over those types of fences, the white from the jump just becomes a huge highlight eyesore. And for this particular showground, because we also have the white picket fences, was it picket fence? No. Wow, I'm in construction. I should know what these materials are. It's a white fence around the arena, so that also, once I go into edit, it really can cause some issues with the contrast and the light balance within the photos. So I tend to lean towards the fences that are a little bit darker or natural colored, and those give me, just less work to do in Photoshop. When it comes to flat classes, I don't really photograph them anymore. I do find them a little bit difficult, again, just based off of where you might be standing. I like to get horses as they're coming around the corner. I find that they look the best. They typically can get a little bit more inside hind action. They get a little more engaged, a little more supple around the corner, and it just makes for a nicer shot. I don't like to take pictures of people when they're at their worst. I don't like to take pictures of people when their horse refused a fence, or if they had a really painful distance, or pretty much delete any photo that is like that, unless it's really, 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 really funny. The short side of the arena can also be a very nice spot to get a good photo. And again, depending on the day, depending on the weather, you just want to be conscious of where the sun is hitting. So then after the hunter ring was wrapped up, I went and I head over to the jumper ring, and it's the same general principles of setting yourself up where you're in a good spot light-wise, trying to figure out at that spot what are going to be your best jumps to photograph, what are you going to have the best angle to, and then from there, take the picture. And to be quite honest, when it comes to the jumper ring, I just pick whichever fence I think is the coolest, especially like this particular, I guess, like show organizer. They have some really beautiful fences, both in the hunter ring and the jumper ring. I really like, I don't know if I got a video of it, but there is this beautiful lilac fence. Love that one. What else is there? There's the flower jump, which I just think is like really fun. This like Joker colored triple bar, it's not my favorite, but it is giving. So those tend to be like, the cool ones that I like. And then there was one bending line from the trans flag to the Italian flag that offered really good shots, like from multiple angles. Of course, I think I got some of the lilac fence as well. And I think that those are probably like my two big ones. I might have gotten like a little bit of photos within that Joker colored line, but it was a little bit close to the rail, so it didn't make for the best angle. And then that was it for me for the day after all the jumper ring stuff was done. After that, after I got all my photos, I usually come home and I put my camera under my bed, and I usually don't look at the photos for anywhere between a week to a year. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. I don't do this professionally. Like I just do this for fun. So you're gonna get those photos when you get them, and ask me about it. Don't haggle me. Don't bring it up. You'll get them when you get them. So yes, editing wise, like I said earlier, I'm a very high contrast, high saturation, high sharpness. Those are kind of like my three big areas that I go into with editing. And then, each photo I kind of take the liberty to decide what I want to keep in it, what I want to remove from it. But yeah, I can go a little bit more in depth at a later time about how I actually go about editing. But this has been 12 minutes straight of me talking. I am thirsty. I am tired. I also just came from another lesson, and I put on normal clothing purely to film this video, and now I'm going to go take a nap. Yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next video.